and it just redirected me to my homepage. So I'm presuming we're live now.
Let me go ahead and let you know. We're live.
We're live?
Yepers.
Welcome, everybody. We are live. Broadcasting.
You can't see me waving because I have no arms, but hi.
Pardon me?
I said you can't see me waving because I have no arms, but hi.
Oh, okay. So let's see. I need my hat.
Yeah, I was about to say, where's your hat?
There we go.
Man, my cat avatar glitches out whenever I try to drink my tea.
I like how all three of us have like some form of the other like theme. Like
Oh,
Rick,
yeah, you're right.
cat. I'm
Well,
cat and country. Right, but I'm country, and then you've got like the country thing.
You've got the hat.
I do have the hat. So this is not strictly speaking a cowboy hat, although I could imagine somebody in Texas wearing it. This is a leather hat. It is a Stetson, but its purpose was different. For many years, I went out to the desert every summer. Who's echoing me back? Yeah, for many years. We okay, Ricky?
Yeah, we're good. Okay, fix it.
Okay. Yeah, for many years, I used to go out to the desert and do a Sundance with a group from Arizona. And it was 10 days out in the high desert in the summertime, and you got to have a hat. And, I could have wore like a big cowboy hat. A lot of people, they wear like these big, giant brimmed like fishing hats or something. But this one also has the prancing pony. One of the symbols of this group was a gold horse, and so that was my version of a gold horse. And I haven't been out there with them for several years, but I keep the hat. I love the hat.
Hey man, better a gold horse than a gold hearse.
Exactly. That was exactly my thinking when I bought the pin.
See,
That's
great minds think alike.
Come with the hat. That's a pin.
Put it up closer. I'm nearsighted. Very nice. Got to get that close up.
Yeah, there you go.
So the same people that you went to Arizona with that gave you your name.
Yeah.
You frequented trips with them. I thought this was like a one and done.
No. I spent 25 years studying with them.
I had no idea.
Learning all of their stuff. Well, I didn't get this wise just by programming computers. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. The other day I said I'd had the Bearheart name for 25 years. I only said that because I'd been saying that for so many years. It's been over 30 years now.
Wow.
Jinx.
Yeah. So there's Ricky, do we have people?
Well, let me go ahead and switch back to my original tab and let you know. Yes, we have people. We have somebody on Twitch. Hello, person on Twitch.
Hello, person on Twitch.
Yes.
I don't believe I've ever actually been on Twitch before, so this is a first.
Well, that makes one of us, and we have 6 people on our LinkedIn right now, so that's cool.
Wow.
Hello,
And
LinkedIn.
Still nobody on YouTube.
According to YouTube, yes.
Or what about Facebook? Did we announce it at all on Facebook?
No, I'm putting up a post right now saying, hey, we're live, come jump in and join us.
There you go.
Jump in.
Jump on in, the water.
The water's freezing here, so.
How I envision these things going is that we'll start by just talking about some current stuff. And I know Ricky wants to talk about 2D Girl. And I want to talk about Marie Kondo no longer wanting to spark joy.
That's not the point.
She's not interested in sparking joy anymore.
No,
She's
that's not what she said.
interested in stepping on stray Legos. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about Ilhan Omar. And I'm pretty sure I found out how to pronounce her name. It's Ilhan. It's
That's what I said.
Ilhan Omar. So I was saying it wrong before, but stranger things have happened.
Ooh, Stranger Things.
Oh,
Vecna's coming, BB. Vecna's coming.
I watched the first season of Stranger Things. And can you hear me when I'm not green on the thing? I watched the first season of Stranger Things and I loved it. And I started to watch the second season and I got about 3 or 4 episodes in and I went, it ain't the same. It's like, when you know already the big mystery and there's no mystery left, it's just not the same. So I quit after like the first few episodes of the second season. But my old expression, stranger things have happened. I say that about things that are entirely predictable.
So it's ironic.
Yeah. There's a line from the Steve Martin film Roxanne.
Roxanne.
Irony, we don't get that around here anymore. We haven't had any irony here since 1984.
Oh my God.
I was the last
1984.
Anyway, Ricky, tell us about 2D Girl. I looked it up on here and I found it fascinating. When Ricky first told me about tell us about 2D Girl and tell us how I responded when you first told me.
Yes, well, the first time I found 2D Girl was on my TikTok For You page in
Now,
between thirst traps of Bengals Coyotes.
It sounds like you're saying Titty Girl. It's 2D Girl, right?
Well, maybe I was saying Titty Girl. You don't know what I'm saying.
Rickety. I mean,
yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, you're good. It was on my For You page sandwiched between Joe Burrow thirst traps of the Bengals. For some reason, I mean, he's not even my type, but he's all over my TikTok. It's like just thirst traps of Joe Burrow and the Bengals. So I don't even watch football. And yet he's all over me, literally. But I found 2D Girl and it kind of blew my brains a little bit because it was just very trippy to think about. But what Bear said when I first brought it up was, oh, does that mean that I could have somebody who's 4D come reach through my 3D sphere and take something out of my safe? And I was like, yes, that's the point. You caught on too quickly.
So tell us the story because so people have context.
Okay, so the 2D Girl is basically a concept, right? So she is a drawing on a whiteboard. And therefore she is 3D. And if you have a drawing on a whiteboard and it's just a square on that whiteboard, and to that 2D girl drawing, that box is a safe. She cannot get into it unless she opens the lid, the line segment on top opening. Hold on. My cat does not have arms. I'm gonna have to, okay, right? Let me see here. Okay.
Doodle.
2D Girl, and I will give her 2D titties because
of
that's
course.
relevant.
2D titties. That's
Okay.
relevant.
Yeah, I'm not an artist, okay, but you'll get the point. So
like
this is 2D Girl. This is her box, right?
Right. That's the 2D Girl. That's her.
And that's her box. And if I draw a little gem in here, I can't draw gems. It looks like a slice of pizza. If I draw a slice of pizza in there.
There you go. So there's a slice of pizza in the box.
There's a slice of pizza in her box. And she can't get it in unless she now opens her box like this. So now the box is open. She could do this. She could open it. Box
she could open it, and then she could get her pizza and not be hungry.
And then she could get her pizza. And that's normal for her. Exactly. It's 2D pizza, 2D box, 2D girl. It's all good. However, if I go through here and I erase the pizza from her original box that's still closed. See, the box is still closed. I erased the pizza. Where
Now-
did it go? How could I have gotten into her lock-proof safe? Right? It's because I'm a 3D creature. So that's the whole
Perspective,
concept of 2D girl.
from her perspective, she doesn't even know the pizza slice is gone.
Until she opens the box again and realizes that it's gone, because she could do that movement. She could open the box.
Right.
She just now
But she-
opens the box and the pizza's gone.
She's keeping her pizza safe in the
Mhm.
box. And then she opens the box. She says, how did anybody get it out of there? Because it was all locked up in the safe.
Right.
And so the way that the lady on TikTok explains it, and this lady is remarkable. She's British, but she looks like
She's remarkably British.
no. Well, so she's wearing this very, very like 1800s dress, and she has this long braid that like goes all the way down to her kneecaps. And I'm thinking, do they have Amish in England? I don't know what this is. And then, but she's like explaining multi-dimensional stuff here. And so on her, she's got these jewels, which she's carefully drawn, and she reaches in the box, and they're like stuck on the little chalkboard. And she reaches into the box and she pulls them out. And so she actually steals the jewels from the 2D girl. And many people on TikTok were very upset and said, well, you need to give her back her jewels.
Shit, now I'm thinking I have to give my 2D titty girl back her pizza.
I'm gonna give her back the
Yes,
pizza.
yeah.
Well, you've already eaten it because we know how kitties are with pizza.
Yeah, that's true.
So this, I was reading about this today because all I knew about it was what you had told me yesterday. And it was pointed out that this was the plot for the movie, and before that, a book called Flatland.
Oh.
Have you all ever heard of Flatland?
No, I didn't know that.
So I've never seen it, but I watched the trailer, and apparently this is exactly because somebody from the third dimension gets into Flatland and just freaks everybody out. And so my first thought when Rick Hitty told me about 2D girl yesterday, I'm being very careful to not say titty girl, but yesterday about 2D girl, my immediate reaction was, well, this could be the same thing. I could have things in my lockbox here in our office, passports and documents and things. And somebody from the fourth dimension could just reach in and grab them, and I would never know.
Well, do you ever just drop something and never find it? Same concept.
I've lost odd socks. Well, actually, no, yes. Here at my desk, I'll often drop a guitar pick. And my presumption is that someday I'll move my desk and there'll be 1,000 guitar picks.
See, maybe, but my assumption is actually that there is an alternate reality, a parallel dimension bear who suddenly finds a second perfect copy of his guitar pick that he only had one of, and now he's stoked. So think about all the joy that you're bringing an alternate version of yourself by losing your guitar pick.
These picks that I really, really like are actually like $10 a piece. These are actually really expensive. They're from a company called V-Picks. And I don't know if you can see the logo on there or not.
Can't, but stick your hand behind it and we will.
Yeah, like
you can see that they're kind of gritty, and they have they got a very distinctive sound to them.
Sparkles.
But before that, I used to use these picks, which were from a different company, which I can't even read it on here anymore. It was something Bear. But these are like handmade from this special composite material that this guy invented himself that's supposed to feel and sound like tortoiseshell, but we can't use tortoiseshells anymore because they're endangered.
Very aerodynamic with the holes in it.
Oh yeah, they're specifically ground down on each side for speed. They sound really amazing. But these were like $35 each. And if I drop one of these and lose it, it's like a real bummer for most of my life, I've used Fender extra heavy solenoid picks or celluloid picks. And these are really, really common, and they're, pennies. And so I've got boxes and boxes. Like if I go out and play in a club or something, I'll use these so I don't lose them. I can throw them to the crowd or whatever.
Yeah.
But so there's a little detour about guitar picks.
So the one video that I saw about the 2D girl, I hadn't even seen the original video about the gems, but it was based off of a comment where it was like, give her gems back. And I was like, what is going on? It was a hat concept, which is funny because we started this whole thing out talking about your hat, where it was like the girl was wearing a baseball hat.
Right.
And you can only rotate it backwards in the third dimension.
Yeah,
And if you were to do that, the 2-dimension world could never get that hat facing the correct way again.
Yeah, because in 2 dimensions, you could only rotate it this way.
Right.
But she had actually rotated it that way.
Uh-huh.
And it was a ball cap. And so, the bill was facing back, or, in this case, the horse is facing the back. And
right.
The only way to get the horse back to the front would be to go like this, but then the hat is upside down.
Exactly.
Doing it in 2D. And so the reaction videos to all this stuff are hilarious. There's somebody who's watching that one, and then when they realize that the hat thing, and they go,
mm-hmm.
And it's
blind react.
Some of these people are just so good at their reactions that you actually believe them.
Or I always think the blind react. I'm like, if it were me and I was like popular on TikTok, I would not blind react to anything. I would watch it first, calculate my every move.
I'm sure that's what they do.
Of course that's what they do.
I know, but like you want to keep the magic alive. So like I want to believe them.
Fair enough.
But me and who I am, my type A personality could never.
That's okay.
Yeah, these reaction videos are hilarious.
Has she done any more concepts? So she did the gems and she did the hat.
Right. There was one comment, and I think I wrote it down here someplace.
Oh, yeah. You sent it to us. Or was that Ricky?
No.
It was you. It was this video.
It referred to this video as being gently ominous.
Oh, yeah, that comment.
I love that because, she's like this girl, the person who's explaining this, and she looks like she's maybe 16 years old. I don't know. It would take longer than that to grow that much hair. But no, seriously, her hair is down to her knees. Her braid is down to her knees. It's ridiculous. And there are some comments in there, obviously, about her hair as well. And she speaks in this soft little, English country girl kind of voice and cadence. And she's explaining how, honestly, what she's explaining is that our stuff in our safe is not safe from people in the 4th dimension. And that we're actually, we could have our hats turned around by somebody in the 4th dimension and never be able to get them back.
Have you ever had something like that happen? Well, like a glitch in the Matrix. Have you ever experienced one of those where it's like, okay, what's your glitch in the Matrix, Kirsten?
I know this is kind of like all encompassing and kind of a lame example, but like when you walk into a room and you forget what you're doing and it'll take me it won't be like minutes later or hours later. It'll take me like days later to have like that deja vu moment where I'm walking back into that room and I start doing the thing that I meant to do 4 days ago.
Gotcha. Have you ever had like a dream and then experienced that exact same moment later?
Yeah, but I consider that more like deja vu.
Yeah.
I can't see what your face is doing.
Well, I'm nodding in agreement.
Oh, what about you?
Yeah, I saw the movie The Matrix. The first one was good. The second two were not, but then the fourth one came back with, with a real bang.
Yeah. Well,
But the
Have you
first
red
one
pill or
was
blue
special.
pill?
The first one was special. I was in Ojai, and this was like right at the beginning of lynda.com. Not when it was the classroom, but later when we were recording videos. I was recording one of my first courses at lynda.com. And this was when it was in Ojai, California, which is like this little town out of the way. It's like a little hippie town.
Yeah, kind of. It's right by the mountains.
Yeah, and they have one movie theater. And I had some time and I was walking around and I walked past this one movie theater and I saw that the movie hadn't started. And I thought, okay, I've never heard of this Matrix movie. And I went in and it was brand new. It had just come out and I hadn't heard about it. And I went in, my mind was blown. It was like, I had never seen before, and I don't know if there had ever really been before, a movie that tried so hard and succeeded in looking like a graphic novel. And of course the concepts in it were, I mean, not entirely original, but pretty cool.
Also, Keanu Reeves.
And Keanu Reeves, well, he was young in his career. All he had done before that, I think, was like Speed and things like this. Speed was a cool movie, him and Sandra Bullock. Yeah, so that was way cool, and the bullet time thing was brilliant. But to go and make sequels and not come up with something just as revolutionary is kind of a letdown, and I think that's most of why people don't like the sequels as much.
So speaking of the Matrix, have either of you experienced glitches in your own Matrix?
I'm not at all convinced that reality exists.
Right.
So,
that's a whole episode within and of itself right there.
Oh yeah, we're in the simulation.
I have an expression that reality is for people who can't handle metaphysics.
Oh, okay. So me.
But
can't handle or don't understand.
Can't handle. I mean, have you ever talked to somebody who just can't handle metaphysics? I mean, you start talking to them about anything spiritual, and they're like,
oh yeah, okay.
That exists, and I'm like, you don't exist. I'm a very pragmatic person. Honestly, I'm a very pragmatic person. But at the same time, I think it's really, really unlikely that the only things that exist in the world are those things that we can see, touch, feel, hear, taste with our five senses. There must be things that are, I mean, there are things that use all five of those senses. So there must be other things that are not detectable with those five senses. And, it's not like I'm going to start, get out a Ouija board and start talking to the dead. I mean,
a Luigi board?
What makes the dead so wise? They died. I mean, if they were so wise, why did they die? So I'm not that kind of but I am some, I do strongly suspect that there's a lot more than what we can just detect with our five senses.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, my personal belief is that it kind of goes back to the whole 4D thing, is that we are sort of like a radio dial tuned into one frequency, and that's what we perceive as reality. But at the same time, there's frequencies above that and below that that are still happening in the same plane of space and time all around us all the time.
Well, in some sense, that's not far from what we know about the electromagnetic spectrum. Things below a certain frequency, we can't hear them with our ears. We can detect them with like a seismograph or something. Things above the spectrum that we can see, we can detect it with, photocells and things like that. But there's got to be stuff outside of all of that range. So, that's not an unscientific perspective. Hey, Rickety, how many
Yes.
people you got?
We've got 5 on LinkedIn, 3 on Twitch, and let me see. And still none on YouTube.
Oh, still no one on YouTube. What about, are we also streaming on Facebook and Twitter?
We are, and I'm not seeing anything on Facebook or Twitter yet.
Okay, so I just want to let people know that after we're done talking about all these things that we want to chat about, we are definitely open to your comments and questions. So please do the typey thing.
Yeah, if you guys drop a comment, we'll address it right away.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be anything
Or at
related.
least acknowledge it if it doesn't make sense. We might make fun of you if it doesn't make sense.
No, don't say
There was
that.
a person yesterday who just typed 12.
Well,
and
okay, but then he explained it and it did make sense. He
explained
typed
it like
12,
5
he was saying
minutes
12
later.
people.
Anyway,
There was somebody that commented yesterday it was kind of concerning. And so I'm going to reach out to them here soon. But the one like notification that popped up this morning, it just said help. And then they posted it again and it said help Bill. And I'm like, is he asking others to help you? Does he need help? Like, what's going on?
I would hope that it's not somebody who's in immediate physical danger, but rather it's somebody who perhaps has a technical question and
Yes.
and may not have a broad vocabulary in the English language. I mean, a lot of, and I don't mean that in any pejorative way, a large segment of my audience is way outside the English speaking world. A lot of them in South Asia, a lot of them in the Southeast Asia, a lot of them in Africa. I got a huge following in Egypt. I would say that the English speaking contingent, at least the native English speaking contingent of my following, is less than a third. At the same time, if you just type 12, I'm just going to have to wonder out loud what it might mean.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get to them and just make sure they're okay.
Yeah, do that, please. And if they need something, that I can't provide, direct them to our Discord.
Yeah.
And is our Discord on the link tree, Kitty?
If it isn't, then I'll put it on there.
Yeah, please make sure that the Discord is on the link tree.
Sure. I updated our Twitch profile and that is now on the link tree.
Oh,
Yeah.
I might have to check that out because I have never used Twitch.
Well, there you go.
I'm very new to this whole live streaming thing, and I had to be talked into it. I mean, but I am enjoying it so far.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the cool thing with these live streams is the video is going to stay up. So it's not just the amount of people who are viewing it right now in live time. The video will stay up and it'll keep being a discussion point. So I think that's
Yeah,
cool.
I noticed that as well. When I was checking everything this morning, like it was the live comments and then
a lot more comments.
Yeah, people that went back and watched it not in real time. And I was like, that's so cool.
I really love that. I really do. Okay, so are we going to talk about Marie Kondo now, or are we still on 2D Girl?
Well, we could talk about Marie Kondo.
So Marie Kondo announced that she's no longer interested in sparking joy. Do we know who? Do we have to explain who Marie Kondo is?
Just in case.
Okay, so Marie Kondo, or KonMari, I think is how you say it in Japanese. She's a Japanese woman who wrote a book about how to declutter your life. And the thing that everybody picked up on was, her attitude about decluttering your life was to pick up each individual thing that you might have and say, does this spark joy? And if it doesn't spark joy, then you can discard it. And if it does spark joy, then you keep it. And the idea is that you would only be keeping those things that spark joy. Well, apparently in recent days or months or whatever, since since she's no longer been in the news, she's had one or two children, I don't know how many, and she has decided that and the way I say it is I'm just joking that she no longer wants to spark joy. She's no longer finding a lot of joy in decluttering. And, of course, my reaction to that is, okay, well, you've got kids now, you know how that goes. Prepare to spend the next 5 or 10 years stepping on stray Legos.
I'm not saying that getting kids to be organized is easy, because I would be lying to you. But the structure that comes with having them organize things like their Legos. I literally stepped on a Lego one time and I was like, I'm done.
Oh yeah, that is like another level of pain.
It is. It really is. Like childbirth, never heard of her. Step on a Lego, remember that for the rest of my life. So, it's not impossible, but it is really hard. And but they're completely capable.
I just realized that my name here says Spartacus. I'm gonna edit that.
Good call. Good call.
I keep forgetting to do that. That's like my default name on my Zoom is Spartacus. And so I'm going to put Bill Weinman, not Spartacus. There we go. Just to make that clear. So, yeah, I mean, I've had a number of kids, and our first one was a unicorn in the sense that they never were difficult, they never had colic, they never screamed or were angry or disrespectful or any of that stuff. They were unruly. I mean, they were just like this, and I'm like, how come everybody's kid isn't like this? But then down the road, 4 kids down the road, I've seen that each one of them is their own individual. And some of them are just really easy, and some of them are really not. And so, I can say that, at least one of our kids right now could not clean up their room under threat of dismemberment. I mean, it just wouldn't happen. There is no way that kid is going to clean up their room. And we can be patient, we can be angry, we can be whatever, and they'll try. And then 3 minutes in, it's like, oh, I found this thing that I forgot I had this, and and it's like, ain't gonna happen. So I feel for Marie Kondo, and I hope that she finds joy in the raising of her kids. I honestly do.
We have a message in the chat.
Okay, good.
Gerald Edwards, he says, Bill, thanks for the comprehensive SQL courses on LinkedIn Learning. Helped a rookie get a solid foundation and pass my SQL classes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. I'm so grateful. This is the whole reason I do that stuff is, early on, I started putting these courses up when it was lynda.com, and getting these messages from my learners it just makes my heart, it sparks joy in my heart. It really, really does.
Nice tie-in.
That's so much, really. And so I want to let you know that LinkedIn Learning is delisting that course. Presumably they won't tell me why, but presumably it's all my big, most popular courses. And that course has consistently been in like the top 10 on LinkedIn Learning, and it's got nothing but great reviews, and they're delisting it, presumably because they don't want to pay me they'd rather have their internal employee people doing it. And everybody in the tech industry is cutting costs right now, and I'm really sorry that it's going to impact the learners like this, the people who are depending on this. But the good news is I'm in the process right now as we speak. Well, after I'm done with this, I'm going to go back to doing that, of creating a brand new updated version of the SQL course. It's going to be called SQL Basics, and it will be available on some combination of my YouTube and my Patreon. And my Patreon is just $5 a month. The LinkedIn Learning, of course, I believe it's like $350 a year, something like that. Pardon? Oh, somebody let the sound leak through again. Yeah, something like $350 a year. And so the Patreon for just $5 a month, and you get all my courses. I've got 4 complete titles on C++ there right now. I'm doing SQL now. I'm working really hard on replacing all of the stuff that was on LinkedIn Learning. And after the SQL, I'm going to do Python, which has been delisted from LinkedIn Learning for about 6 months, and really breaks my heart because so many people loved my Python courses so much. Again, consistently in the top 10, and very popular, lots of great reviews, and lots of great, personal notes from learners who have, been able to start careers, been able to lift their families out of poverty. I mean, serious stuff, just because I decided to make some SQL courses and Python courses. So that stuff is coming. And thank you again for your note. Makes me so happy to hear that.
I always feel like it has a lot to do with your tone and your voice. I feel like you get this a lot from what I see. It's like soothing. You have like a way with words. You don't really beat around the bush. You're not like, oh, well, it's kind of like this. You're like, no, this is exactly how it is. And I'm going to show you. So
I've spent some years refining that. But I got to tell you, I get both comments about my voice. One day, and I posted this on my Facebook, it's in there someplace. I posted side-by-side screenshots of 2 comments that came in on Twitter, like within minutes of each other. And one of them says, I can't stand your voice. It's like nails on a chalkboard, blah, 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 like this. And another one says, I am falling in love with your voice. I want to marry your voice. And it's like, and so I posted them next to each other. I said, you can't please everybody.
You really can't. You said that there was another comment.
Yes, it is from, and I am sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right, but if it makes you feel better, no one ever pronounces mine right. From Sesha Shayan Kandla Kunta. And he says, it's a real shame. It was a great refresher course for me.
Oh, there you go. So it'll be available again in a newly updated version. And, thank you again for the appreciation. And again, as much as y'all can support the Patreon, it'll make it possible for me and my fabulous team to continue producing this fantastic content for you. And yes, both of these beautiful women are closely involved with all of our content creation.
Meow.
Oh, I can put my hands up.
Yes, you can.
I was doing that earlier.
There you go.
Oh, I don't have background. Mine's real. Those are actual guitars.
Oh, really? Do you still have that guitar right next to you? I
do. So this is the one. This is the one I keep just right next to me. This is actually probably my favorite guitar right now, and this is one that I built. I started building guitars a few years ago so that I could get exactly what I want. It was just not possible for me to buy something off the shelf that was going to be exactly what I want. And if you want a custom guitar from, Fender or Gibson or one of those folks, it's going to cost you at least $10,000, and it's going to be just from whatever they got in their parts. But I can buy, third-party pickups. These are Seymour Duncan pickups, Wilkinson, a bridge, I forget the name of these tuning machines there, but you can't get them from anywhere right now. Oh, I think Gibson might have them now. They didn't
Right
use.
now.
So yeah, anyway, that's my player. Am I supposed to try to play it? I don't know if you can hear it. If I
Well,
try.
why not test it? Before you do, we do have one more comment, again from Gerald Edwards. He says, yes, great voice and cadence. There are other voices that will not be named, those that I have to run it in 1.5 times speed just to get through. Oh my God, I relate to that so much. He says he has LinkedIn Learning free from school. Next semester, he'll be working on Python, and then he'll look for your course. C++ will be down the road a bit, he says.
Yeah, so my old Python course is still in the library. It's just not listed, so you can't get it in search. But if you
We'll DM him.
if you log into my my Discord in like the general channel and ask me for it, I'll send you a link. And then you can get my Python course, which it's like 4 years old, but it's still, Python doesn't change that much. It's still a good course.
Python like this.
Or my
Yes,
new
like the
Python
snake.
course will be available in a few months. It's coming up, hopefully March or April.
We have one more comment from Kirsten Hilgendorf. She says, Python like the snake.
That's embarrassing.
She said what?
Python like the snake?
Like the snake. So it's interesting, the Python language was actually named after Monty Python.
Shut the front door. That is one of my favorite movies.
I never knew that.
I did not know that.
It was named after Monty Python, who are not just movies, but they were a comedy troupe in England for a long time. And they made several movies. My favorite, of course, is Life of Brian.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought we were about to have a moment.
Gerald says again, Python like the Monty. See, how does everybody know but me?
And just, to complete the etymology, Monty Python was named after the snake. Oh.
Got it. So
full circle.
Love that. My favorite Monty Python movie is The Search of the Holy Grail.
I love that one too. With the killer rabbits.
It's a staple in my everyday. I mean, I walk around doing the coconuts. My husband and I are always asking. My husband and I are always asking each other about the swallows. Like the African or European. Like
you can't say coconuts and swallows in the same sentence. All right.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna head out. Ricky, do you have a favorite Monty Python movie?
The original, the first, series 1.
Which one? The Holy Grail?
Holy Grail, of course.
Oh, okay. All right. So how we doing on viewers? I just like to know.
Whoa, okay. We were up to 8 on LinkedIn, and right now we're at 5. We are at still 4. Oh, now we're at 4 on Twitch. And let's go ahead and see.
How did we get anybody on Twitch? I mean, how did we accomplish 4 people on Twitch?
I updated it, and then I added us to a couple categories and gave us a profile photo and a banner and worked on that page a little bit. So
Ricky, you're brilliant, and you're the best.
Twitch is going to take a while to build up, but I mean, once we do, it'll be fun. More comments in the chat too.
I feel like what I originally thought of Twitch was like people that live stream like their video playing video games.
Right, that's what I thought it. I thought it all was, but apparently there's other content on there too.
Yeah.
All right. Pull out that guitar.
Pull
out the guitar.
So yeah.
You gotta be quiet.
I keep this little amplifier by my desk, just so that I can just pick up my guitar and doodle on it. And I don't know if you can hear this or not.
Yeah, that sounds great.
You can hear that?
Beautiful. That sounds so cool. Lift it up. Let's see.
Whammy bar, whammy bar, whammy bar.
Whammy bar.
Okay.
The real guitar hero, folks.
That's rock and roll there. Okay, I got to get out a guitar pick if I'm going to try to be good.
Back up a little so that we could see the guitar too.
I've heard the story of the hot rod race where the Fords and the Lincolns was setting the pace. Well, that story is true. I'm here to say that I was driving that Model A. Got a 4-barrel carbon, dual exhaust, and 411 gears. You can really get lost. Got safety tubes, but I ain't scared. The brakes are good. The tires fair. Out of San Pedro late one night, the moon, the stars was shining bright. I was driving up that Grapevine Hill, passing cars like they was standing still. When all of a sudden, in the wink of an eye, Cadillac sedan passes by. I said, now, boys, it was a mark for me. By then, the taillights was all you could see.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to do that part.
Yeah,
Too cool. I was moshing there for a little bit.
I saw that.
Yeah, the kitty going like this. That's
Moshing.
it's very anime. So we're down to our last few minutes here. Do we have any more comments or anything?
Yes. Sesha Shayan Kanlakunta, and please again let me know if I'm mispronouncing that.
Can you speak
Has-
more slowly?
What?
Más despacio, por favor.
Okay. Sesha Shayan Kanlakunta, and I am hoping I'm pronouncing that right, has said, I don't know why they are not using Monty icon instead of a snake for Python. Probably why people didn't know the name origin.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, you know, there's probably trademark issues involved in that. That would
Probably.
be my first guess.
Love a good copyright.
But you know, I'll tell you, I love the Python language for many. So I started out as a Unix geek back in the 70s, when dinosaurs still ruled the earth, and in Unix you do all your scripting in shell, and Bash wasn't around. There was just shell, and then after a while there was K shell, which was Kernighan, Brian W. Kernighan wrote that one. And that was the one that I used for decades, K shell. And in order to do things like search through files and such, you would use utilities. You would call them from shell, things like grep and sed and awk. And you've probably seen this on your Unix systems if you have a Unix system. And this was how you did scripting, and you would write these scripts and they would install things and they would manage files. And I mean, this is how Unix was maintained, and it was really the genius of Unix, that all of the configuration of the entire operating system is in these text files that you could manipulate with these few utilities. And then somebody got the brilliant idea to incorporate all of those capabilities in one scripting language, and that was Perl, P-E-R-L. And Perl was it for, again, like 10, 15, 20 years. I wrote books on Perl. I did courses on, I think I still have a Perl course in the LinkedIn Learning library, and it still gets some traffic. And I know I did lots of gigs in Perl, and Perl was great. It was the bomb. And then I started hearing, rumblings about this other language called Python. And the thing with Perl's slogan was, there's more than one way to do it. And so for everything that you could do in Perl, you could either do it this way or you could do it that way. Like, for instance, if you want a conditional, you could say if condition, do this, or you could say do this if condition. And it allowed you to express things, if the action was more of the point of the line of code, you could put that first, or if the condition was more the line of code, you could put that first. I'm going to take a sip of water because I ain't done yet.
It's like that part in the song with Chris Brown, and he goes,
yeah, I don't know who that is. But yeah, I mean, I'm old. I make references to George Burns. I'll know who that is. George and Gracie. Say goodnight, Gracie. Good night, Gracie. So that was the philosophy of Perl, was there's more than one way to do it. Python came along and said, no, there's one way to do it. And everything in Python, there is exactly one way to do it. And the value in this is that you can look at a piece of code and you can instantly know what it means. The syntax in Perl is very fuzzy. And there's a lot of stuff I love about it, like the fact that it uses regular expressions for everything. And there's, I love that, but there's a lot of stuff to remember and a lot of stuff to keep straight. And in Python, that's not the case. Plus, Python has a real object model. In Perl, object-oriented programming was kind of tacked on in Perl 5. And it's very funky, and there's really no protection in the encapsulation model. And in Python, it's designed with the OO built in. And so I started using Python, it's just kind of an experiment to see if and sure enough, it's become my go-to scripting language. I hardly ever touch. I've got some old code kicking around in Perl, and every once in a while I got to crack it open and look at it. And a couple of people have asked me to update my Perl course, and I may decide to do that at some point in the future. But honestly, Perl's market share, when I say market share, the share of programmers who are getting paid to do work in Perl has been dropping for years. And yet I know a couple of old programmers who are still, working all the time and making good money. But really Python has displaced it in the market, and for good reason. So there's like a little bit of a history of how we got from there to here, from perspective of, some old dude who was there.
Kind of all of history.
But yeah, so that's an hour, right, kids?
Well, yeah, but I see that Kirsten's hair is blowing in the wind.
I love that you've got the fan going, Kirsten. It's very, very model.
Yes, very much.
And I would say that I did it on purpose, but it's mostly because it's like freezing outside, but it's cold in the house. But every time I get in front of the camera, even for like our meetings that we do on Zoom, I start sweating profusely. So I'm like wearing a fleece jacket, freezing, but also I'm soaked in sweat. So
yeah,
Luckily, my cat comes with a hoodie, so I'm nice and warm.
As you all know, I keep Celsius here in the bear house because well, you know, I did a lot of traveling in the 80s and 90s, and I just got used, because the US is the only country in the world, the only developed country in the world that still uses Fahrenheit. And also because as I get older, I have to give myself brain teasers all the time.
Yes.
Keep my brain sharp, and so I'm constantly converting between Fahrenheit and Celsius, and between you know, imperial weights and kilos, and I don't know if you've noticed, my kitchen is mostly mostly metric. You know, I have a little scale, and I measure out things in grams, and I use the liters side of my measuring cup.
See, the way that the world does everything else makes sense except for Fahrenheit. I mean, I think everyone should adopt meters and kilograms and grams and those metric systems. But for Fahrenheit, because Celsius is designed with water in mind, Fahrenheit is the temperature metric that's determined for humans, basically.
So I've heard people say this, and you know, I disagree. So it is so easy. You know, I know that most people are really comfortable in a room that's right around 25°C. Okay. The healthy temperature of the inside of your body, you know, in Fahrenheit, it's 98.6. I mean, who can remember that? It's 37°C. And you know, the fact that water boils at 100 and it freezes at 0, I mean, that's actually really convenient to know. But you know, I keep the thermostats here in the house like right around 22 and a half for, you know, most of the rooms. And we got 4 zones here in Bear House because like the bear himself, the house is pretty big. But over here at my desk,
aquarium over there.
Over here at my desk, 24.8. And
Yeah,
yes,
that's real handy.
15% humidity. I mean, that
16.
is dry. It does say 16 now. It said 15 a moment ago, but I picked it up off the table. Yeah, so it does get kind of warm over here at the desk, and so you'll usually see me in a t-shirt, but really the cold doesn't bother me that much. I'll walk outside, and it's been you know, averaging around, you know, between 0 and 5 degrees outside here in Vegas for the last month or so. And I'll walk out in my t-shirt and talk to people, and you know, after 15-20 minutes I start getting a little chill, and I'll walk back into the house. But you know, cold just really doesn't bother me. I could tell you why if you're interested.
Sure thing.
Trying to make the conversion in my head. It's just not.
25°C?
Math ain't mathin'.
Here, this is the easy way to do this. Hey Siri, what is 25 Celsius in Fahrenheit?
How's that for a brain teaser?
77 degrees Fahrenheit.
Siri, can you repeat that, please? Please repeat.
25 degrees Celsius is 77 degrees Fahrenheit.
Huh,
Did you?
77.
Yeah, so that's, you know, I don't know. I think most people are pretty comfortable at that, or maybe, you know, somewhere between 22 and 22 is closer to 75.
That is a whole 10 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than it is in my house, because the natural gas bills lately have not been it. That has been crazy.
Oh, the
Yeah,
vibe.
you got the hoodie on, and you know, of course, you know, kitties are furry, so you know, you got the cat fur.
Gotta keep
Y'all are killing me.
All right. So I was going to talk about some politics here today, but it seems like that would just, you know, break the mood.
We are at 57 minutes.
We're at 57 minutes.
Yes.
So are you
sir.
telling me I should talk about politics for a couple minutes? Do we still have
3
9?
minutes.
Well, you have 3 minutes if you want to.
Do we still have an
Wait, hold
audience?
on. Let me go ahead and update you. Hang on a second here. We have 5 people on LinkedIn.
5 on LinkedIn.
still nobody on YouTube.
No,
They're
still
probably-
nobody on YouTube. We got to figure out how to do the marketing for YouTube.
Yeah. I don't know if I think live streams on YouTube, I'm not sure if there's a lot of traffic there.
Question: to show up as a viewer on YouTube, do you have to have like a profile, or can you just like randomly tune in and that counts as a view? That might be something.
I don't think you can get into YouTube. Can you get into YouTube entirely anonymously? You don't have to log in?
I don't think so. Because
Okay,
people put up like random YouTube videos all the time.
I mean, I'm always logged into YouTube, but I
Oh, we
watch.
do have a YouTube comment though, and we do have a watcher. We have a YouTube comment from Pranjal Shukla who says, try the game and software development category in Twitch.
Ah,
Yeah, I've been switching the categories here. Let me try that. What did game and software and game develop? Oh, look at that.
Gaming.
wow.
Yeah, that
So-
might be fun because most games are written in C++, and that is definitely one of my areas of expertise. Although
So
I've
then
never
would you
done game
say that
development.
C++ is the most valuable coding language to learn, or do you not have a
Again?
preference necessarily? Would you say that C++ is the most valuable coding language to learn then?
Well, in terms of salary value, okay, so there are probably more jobs available in Python, or even in some of the stupider languages like Java, but you're going to get paid most. C++ programmers get paid more than any other language on average. Entry-level C++ jobs are honestly in the mid six figures. Entry-level C++ job with somebody with no experience at all is going to make probably $175,000 a year. And you don't get that as an entry level in Python, and you might be able to get that as an advanced in Python. Advanced C++ programmers with 10 years or more of experience are probably making $400,000 or $500,000, and they're working at banks on Wall Street. Gaming jobs probably don't pay as well, but if you want to get a job at Microsoft developing games, you're going to make mid six figures. I hope that answers your question.
That pretty much does. I don't know. That does, but should you just learn them all, or is there like a capped limit to how much somebody?
What I recommend to people today is learn Python and C++. And honestly, I would start with C++. My first language was C, and C++, of course, is based upon C. It's C with classes is C++.
So was it C and then C plus?
Well, no, because the plus in C is the increment operator. It was actually a programming pun to name it C++. So if you take a variable like X and you put a plus after it, the value of that variable, say it was originally 5, the value of that variable is now going to be 6. And so the plus is an incrementer in the language of C. And so originally C++ was called C with classes. And then the community just thought, oh, it would be fun to just call it C++ instead.
So the whole language is just based off of a really good pun.
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly. At least
Is that a common thing for a lot of these?
You got a programming language named after a comedy troupe.
Which one?
Python.
Oh, well, yes. Okay.
Python.
The language is called Python.
It's just a pun in itself. So sure. Don't ever tell me that programmers don't have a sense of humor, because
I wouldn't. There's a whole subreddit about it. r/programmer humor.
Can be the most ridiculous people.
And I like that even if you don't understand computer programming, the humor is still there. Like, that's universal.
Yeah, and you've got me, and I pride myself on being able to explain weird shit in normal. So if I were starting out today, I would recommend to my starting out today self Then I start out by learning C and C++, and then get a Unix box to practice on and learn about, and then learn Python, and start doing my system administration, start writing scripts in Python and start writing utilities in C++. The whole thing I'm always telling people, they're like, what classes should I take? What videos should I watch? How do I get experience when I have no experience? And my answer is always the same. You just give yourself a project. One of my early projects that I love, and I always give this as an exercise in my coding courses, was I wanted a clock that would tell me the time in words. But not just, it is now 4:27. No, I wanted it to say, 3 minutes to 12, or 5 past 1. I wanted it to actually use those kinds of words. And so, the first time I did it, it took me ages. But now whenever I pick up a new language, or I, pick up a refinement of an old language, I want to rewrite something, that's one of my exercises that I give myself. And I have, like, in my C++ course, in my advanced course, you can see my latest iteration of this, and it's all written as a class, an object-oriented class in C++, and it's got the words in there. And if I log into one of my Unix boxes right now, because all of them have this, it says 12 past 5. That's the time that it says on it. So, give yourself utilities. Say you want something that'll, go through a tree of files and tell you what what are the largest files in here and how much space is this entire tree of files taking up. And of course, there's utilities in Unix already that do that. But, to write one, you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to have a lot of experience, and you can take those utilities and you can print out the code and you can attach it to your resume. You can take these utilities and write about it, here's the things that I ran into, here's the things that I had to learn, here's how I attacked those problems, here's why I went to learn the answers to those problems. As an employer, I'm going to look at something like that. I'm going to say, I like this guy. He can take a problem, he can break it down into its component pieces, he can solve it, and he can deliver. And that's, to me, is going to be far more impressive than a degree from, some expensive university. And honestly, in my career, which, I've been at this since the 70s, and I've hired a lot of programmers, and I've managed a lot of programming teams. The best programmers are not the ones with degrees, and they rarely have degrees. At least they rarely have related degrees. Sometimes they'll have degrees in the arts or music, but the best programmers are the ones who just know how to look at a problem and break it down and solve it. So if you can show me that you can do that, and you can do that on your own, you don't need an employer. You can find some problem, you can write some open source software, you can collaborate with other people on the internet, you can write a blog about your, here's what I ran into this problem, and here's how I solved it. And that's going to be a lot more impressive to an employer than, letters after your name. I know I've said this before on at least one of our podcasts, but
And see.
And scene. All right, so producer Ricky has taken off her avatar and she's waving at us, and I think she's going like this, and it is definitely time. Thank you all for showing up, thank you for your interaction, and thank you for all the sweet and kind comments about my courses. That warms my heart, and I love seeing the success of my students in their lives. Look forward to seeing you again. We're going to try to do this, I guess, weekly, maybe more often. We may just do it on a whim at times if there's something to talk about. Other than that, we'll certainly do it weekly. There may be at least 1 week during this month where I'll be traveling and won't be able to do this.
Yes, but there may be 1 week this month where someone else is traveling, and we might be able to do an in-person live stream. Are you following?
Okay, well, I guess we'll find out who that's going to be, because as the boss of this team, I don't know. It's probably haven't looked at it because I've been so nose down working on my courses, which y'all allow me to do, and that means the world to me. All right. Thank you all. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.